The strength of your autumn years is not a game of chance. It is a choice. A single small seed can either build your foundation or slowly erode it. The final understanding we will share, this changes everything. You must see it. Hidden dangers. We often move through our lives and through our kitchens with a certain level of trust. We trust that the food available to us is meant to nourish, to sustain. We see a simple form, a seed or a nut, and we assume its intention is pure. But nature is complex. It holds both great medicine and subtle poisons, often side by side. A beautiful flower can hide a toxin, and a simple common food can carry a hidden burden. The first step in building a strong foundation for your health, especially as you gather more years and more wisdom, is not adding things. The first step is to develop the awareness to see what should be removed. It is the practice of clearing the ground before you build the house. To look at what is common, what is accepted, and to ask a deeper question. Does this truly serve my vessel? Does this contribute to clarity, or does it introduce a subtle disturbance, a quiet static that clouds the mind and weakens the body over time? This awareness is a discipline, a form of training for the mind that directly translates to the vitality of the body. Without this first step, any other efforts can be built on unstable ground, and we do not wish to build on sand. We wish to build on rock. The first nut, and this may be a surprise to you, is one that is not even truly a nut. It is a legume that we have all come to accept as a nut, found in bowls at gatherings, ground into a paste, a staple of many diets. I am speaking of the peanut. The issue with the peanut is not in its essence, but in its vulnerability. It grows underground, in a shell that is soft and permeable, in conditions that are often damp. This makes it highly susceptible to the growth of molds, specifically Aspergillus molds, which can produce toxins called aflatoxins. For a young, robust body, the liver can often process these in small amounts. But as we age, our systems become more refined, more sensitive. Introducing a constant, low-level toxin can be like adding a single drop of mud to a clear glass of water day after day. Over time, the water is no longer clear. This creates a burden on the liver, a burden on the body's detoxification systems, forcing it to expend precious energy on cleaning rather than on rebuilding and maintaining vitality. It is a silent thief of energy. Beyond the risk of mold, we must also consider the inherent nature of the peanut. It is very high in omega-6 fatty acids and relatively low in omega-3s. In the body, we seek balance, we seek harmony. Too much omega-6 without the balancing presence of omega-3 promotes inflammation. Inflammation is the body's response to injury, but chronic low-grade inflammation is a different matter. It is a state of constant, low-level alert. Think of it as a quiet alarm that is always ringing in the background. It contributes to stiffness in the joints, to a lack of physical ease. But more than that, this inflammation can cross the barrier into the brain, contributing to what many people call mental fog. This lack of clarity, this difficulty in finding focus, is often a direct reflection of a state of inflammation within the body. When we choose our foods, we are choosing not just for our stomach, but for our mind. To choose a food that promotes this state of imbalance is to knowingly choose to cloud our own awareness. Why would we do this when a clearer choice is available? Finally, we must look at the way peanuts are often cultivated in modern agriculture. They are a crop that is very demanding on the soil and, as a result, are often subjected to heavy use of pesticides and fungicides to protect them. These chemicals, these foreign substances, do not simply wash away. They can be absorbed into the plant and become part of the final product that you consume. Your body, this temple, is then forced to deal with these substances. It does not recognize them. They are not food. They are another burden, another task for the liver, another distraction from its primary functions of providing clean energy for your life and your practice. It is a matter of purity. When we seek to quiet the mind and strengthen the body, we must provide it with the purest fuel possible. The peanut, due to its vulnerability to mold, its inflammatory nature, and the common methods of its cultivation, often represents an unnecessary complication. It is a risk without a significant reward. Therefore, It is the first thing that, with mindful awareness, we can choose to set aside, creating space for something far more beneficial. Energy drainers. The second nut we must approach with caution is the cashew. And here, the lesson is one of transformation and energy. Everything in the universe is a form of energy. The food we eat is meant to be a transfer of clean, usable energy into our own system. But some things, in their natural state, are not designed to give us energy. In fact, they are designed to protect themselves, and in doing so, they can drain our own energy reserves. The cashew, as it grows on the tree, is not the gentle, smiling crescent we see in a bag. The raw cashew nut is encased in a shell that contains a toxic oil called urushiol. This is the very same compound found in poison ivy and poison oak. It is a potent skin irritant and is toxic if ingested. This is nature's own defense mechanism. The plant does not want its seed to be eaten. It protects it. To make the cashew safe for us, it must undergo a heating process, a steaming or roasting to neutralize this oil. This process itself is an expenditure of external energy to make it safe, but it invites a deeper question about the nature of the food itself. We are taking something that is inherently defensive and forcing it to become nourishment. While the heating process removes the immediate danger of the urushiol oil, it does not change the fundamental energetic signature of the food entirely. Furthermore, cashews are very high in substances called oxalates. Oxalates are naturally occurring compounds in many plants, but in high concentrations, they can become a problem, especially for an aging body. They can bind with calcium in the body and form crystals, which can be irritating to the tissues and, for some people, can contribute to the formation of kidney stones. This process is, again, a burden. It asks your kidneys, the body's vital filtration system, to work harder. It is an unnecessary stress. Think of your body's energy as a finite resource each day. You can spend it on clear thoughts, on gentle movement, on being present with your loved ones. Or you can force your body to spend it on processing difficult substances, on filtering out irritants, on managing internal stress. The cashew, with its high oxalate content, asks your body to do the latter. It is a food that takes more than it gives. It may provide a fleeting moment of pleasure to the tongue, but it creates a long-term withdrawal from your body's energy bank account. The goal of mindful eating is to find foods that work in harmony with the body, that are easily accepted, easily assimilated, and which provide a clean, steady source of fuel. We are looking for effortless nourishment. The cashew, because of its defensive nature and its chemical composition, represents effort. It requires a great deal of external processing just to be made edible, and then it requires a great deal of internal processing for the body to manage its effects. This is the definition of an energy drainer. It is a food that, while popular and tasty, does not align with the principle of creating more energy and vitality. Instead, it subtracts from it. For a person in their youth, the impact may be small, almost unnoticeable. But as we seek to preserve and cultivate our life force in our senior years, these small daily withdrawals of energy begin to add up. They become significant. Choosing to avoid the cashew is a conscious decision to conserve your vital energy. It is a choice for efficiency, for harmony, and for a body that does not have to struggle to maintain its balance. It is a simple act of kindness to your own system. We must always ask of our food, what is its story? Where did it come from? What was its intention in nature? The cashew's story is one of defense, of toxicity, of needing significant intervention to become safe. This story alone should give us pause. It tells us that this is not a food that is freely given as nourishment. Contrast this with other foods that are openly presented by nature, whose very purpose is to be eaten to spread their seed. The energy is different, the intention is different. By choosing foods that are naturally harmonious with our bodies, we reduce the internal workload, we calm the systems, and we free up our life force for higher purposes. This is why we gently set aside the cashew, not out of fear, but out of a deep respect for our own energy and a desire to protect and cultivate it for the years to come. This is the discipline of subtraction, and it is just as powerful as the discipline of addition. We are making space, we are lightening the load. Mindful avoidance. The third and final nut that we must learn to avoid is perhaps the most critical to understand, for it teaches us the most important lesson of all, the lesson of discernment. In life and in our diet, we are often faced with two things that look almost identical. One is life-giving, the other is life-taking. The ability to distinguish between the two is a form of wisdom that protects us not only at the dinner table, but in all of our affairs. I am speaking of the bitter almond. It looks nearly identical to the sweet almond, the one we all know and eat. They can grow on the same tree, but the bitter almond contains a substance called amygdalin, which, when chewed or digested, breaks down and releases a poison, cyanide. Even a small number of raw bitter almonds can be fatal to an adult. This is not a subtle danger. It is not a question of long-term inflammation or energy drain. It is a direct and immediate threat to life. While they are processed to remove the poison to make almond extract, in their natural state, they are a clear example of how nature can hide a profound danger in a familiar package. The lesson here is absolute. We must be certain of the source and nature of what we consume. This principle of mindful avoidance, crystallized in the example of the bitter almond, extends far beyond just this one nut. It becomes a philosophy for consumption. It teaches us not to be passive recipients of what is placed before us. It encourages us to be active participants in our own nourishment. We must ask questions. Where did this food come from? Is it from a source I trust? Has it been prepared in a way that preserves its life force, or in a way that introduces contamination? This is not about creating anxiety around food. It is the opposite. It is about creating a deep sense of peace and security that comes from knowing you are making conscious, informed choices. It is the practice of bringing your full awareness to the simple act of eating. When you do this, eating is no longer a mechanical act of refueling. It becomes a meditation. It becomes an act of self-respect. You are affirming, with every choice, that your body, your mind, and your spirit are worthy of the best, purest nourishment available. This is the power of true discernment. Think of how this applies to the mind. We are constantly consuming information, ideas, and the energies of other people. Some of this is like the sweet almond, nourishing, uplifting, strengthening our spirit. But some of it is like the bitter almond. It looks like knowledge, it looks like connection, but it is actually toxic. It creates fear, it creates division, it poisons our inner peace. The same discernment we apply to the nuts in a bowl, we must apply to the thoughts in our head and the influences in our environment. We must learn to identify and mindfully avoid the bitter almonds of the mind. These are the negative thought patterns, the self-criticism, the anxieties about the future. They look like thinking, but they are a form of inner poison. The practice of avoiding the literal poison of the bitter almond trains us in the mental and spiritual discipline of avoiding the poisons that attack our clarity and peace. The physical practice and the mental practice are one and the same. They are inseparable. So, the avoidance of these three, the peanut for its hidden burdens, the cashew for its draining of energy, and the bitter almond for its direct toxicity, is not an act of deprivation. It is an act of profound self-care. It is a clearing of the path. By removing these obstacles, we create an open, clean space within ourselves. We reduce the load on our physical systems, we conserve our precious life energy, and we sharpen our faculty of discernment. We are now ready. We have prepared the ground. We have removed the weeds and the stones. Now, and only now, can we begin the joyful and life-affirming work of building. We can now turn our attention to the foods, the nuts, that are truly meant to construct a foundation of unshakable strength, clarity, and vitality for all the years that lie ahead. The act of removing is complete. The act of building is about to begin. This is the way. First, we empty the cup. Then, we may fill it with something pure. Ancient strength. Now we shift our focus. The practice of avoidance is a practice of protection. The practice of choosing what to consume is a practice of construction. We are now architects of our own vitality. And the first cornerstone we will lay is a nut that carries a beautiful signature from nature, a clue to its primary purpose. I am speaking of the walnut. If you take a walnut and crack it open, what do you see? You see two halves, folded and wrinkled, protected by a hard shell. It is a near-perfect replica of the human brain. Ancient traditions and philosophies often taught us to observe nature, for it provides us with signs. In this case, the sign is clear and direct. The walnut is, above all, food for the mind. As we age, the clarity of our mind, the sharpness of our memory, and the stability of our mood become our most precious assets. The walnut is a gift from nature, specifically for the purpose of protecting and nourishing this, the seat of our consciousness. To eat a walnut is to honor and care for your mind. The power of the walnut lies in its unique composition. It is one of the very few plant-based sources of a significant amount of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically one called alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA. We spoke earlier of the inflammatory nature of an imbalance, of too much omega-6. The walnut brings the perfect antidote. It brings the balancing, anti-inflammatory power of omega-3. These fats are the literal building blocks of our brain cells. They help to maintain the flexibility and fluidity of cell membranes, allowing for easy communication between neurons. This translates directly to better cognitive function, to quicker thought, to a more resilient memory. To consume walnuts, especially in our senior years, is to provide the raw materials your brain needs to repair itself, to protect itself from age-related decline, and to maintain its highest function. It is like providing the finest oil for a complex and beautiful machine to ensure it runs smoothly and quietly for a very long time. But the gifts of the walnut do not end with the brain. It is also packed with a wide array of powerful antioxidants. Think of the process of aging as a kind of slow oxidation, like a piece of metal left out in the rain begins to rust. This process, caused by free radicals, damages our cells over time. Antioxidants are the protectors. They neutralize these free radicals, stopping the damage before it starts. They protect the integrity of every cell in your body, from your skin to your heart to your brain. Walnuts contain a unique and potent combination of these compounds, including vitamin E, melatonin, and polyphenols. This makes them a powerful ally in the quest for longevity. They are not just building the mind, they are protecting the entire vessel. They are helping to keep the body's structure strong and resilient against the relentless passage of time. To eat a handful of walnuts is to deploy a small army of guardians throughout your system, preserving your strength from the inside out. Therefore, the inclusion of walnuts in your daily diet should be seen not as a snack, but as a practice, a mindful ritual. When you take a few walnuts, perhaps 3 or 4 in the morning, do not eat them mindlessly. Take a moment, look at their form. Acknowledge their purpose as food for your brain. Chew them slowly with intention. Be present with the act of nourishing the very center of your being. This simple act transforms the food. It becomes more than just its chemical components. It becomes a conscious partnership between you and nature. You are actively participating in the preservation of your own clarity. This is the first pillar of our foundation, the walnut, for a clear mind and a protected body. It is the cornerstone of ancient strength, a wisdom passed down through its very shape, now confirmed by modern understanding. We start by building our command center, the brain, and from there, all else will follow in strength and order. Mindful nourishment. Having laid the cornerstone for the mind with the walnut, we now turn to the second pillar of our foundation. This is a nut that provides steady, reliable, and balanced nourishment for the entire body. It is the perfect complement, providing the materials for physical strength and calm energy. And interestingly, it is the counterpart to the nut we learn to avoid with discernment. We set aside the bitter almond, the symbol of poison in a familiar disguise. Now we embrace its sibling, the sweet almond. This choice itself is a practice of wisdom, to know the difference and to consciously choose the one that gives life. The sweet almond is a masterpiece of nutritional balance. It is not extreme in any one way. Instead, it is a harmonious blend of high-quality protein, healthy monounsaturated fats, and valuable fiber. This combination is the key to its power. It provides a slow, steady release of energy, unlike the sharp spikes and crashes that come from simple sugars or refined carbohydrates. For a senior, this stable energy is gold. It means no sudden fatigue, no afternoon slumps. It means a reliable source of fuel that keeps the body and mind running smoothly all day long. The sweet almond is a treasure chest of micronutrients that are especially vital as we age. It is one of the world's best sources of vitamin E. We spoke of antioxidants with the walnut, and vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant of immense importance. It integrates itself into the cell membranes of our body, protecting them from oxidative damage. This is particularly important for the health of our skin, keeping it supple and resilient, but it also protects every cell in our body. Furthermore, almonds are rich in magnesium. Magnesium is often called the relaxation mineral. It is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in the body, including muscle function, nerve transmission, and blood pressure regulation. So many of the issues that can arise with age, muscle cramps, feelings of anxiety, high blood pressure, can be linked to a deficiency in this critical mineral. A small handful of almonds provides a significant dose of this calming, regulating nutrient, promoting both physical ease and mental tranquility. It helps to quiet the nervous system, creating a state of calm readiness. To unlock the full potential of the almond, there is a simple practice we can adopt, a method used for centuries in many traditions. That is the practice of soaking. By soaking raw almonds in water for a few hours or overnight, several wonderful things happen. First, it softens them, making them much easier to chew and digest, which is a great kindness to an aging digestive system. Second, it helps to break down the phytic acid, an anti-nutrient on the skin that can bind to minerals and prevent their absorption. Soaking neutralizes this and makes the magnesium, calcium, and zinc within the almond more bioavailable, more ready for your body to use. Finally, the process activates the enzymes within the nut, essentially beginning the process of germination, bringing the nut to life. A soaked almond is a food that is prepared, ready, and willing to give you its full nourishment. This simple act of soaking is another form of mindful preparation. It shows care, intention, and a desire to receive the maximum benefit from the gift nature is offering. So, the sweet almond is our second pillar. It represents mindful nourishment. It is the provider of stable energy, the protector of our cells, and the calmer of our systems. While the walnut focuses on the command center, the brain, the almond focuses on the structure itself, the muscles, the nerves, the very cells that make up our physical being. It is the reliable worker, the steady companion on our journey. Eaten daily, especially when soaked, it provides the body with the resources it needs to remain strong, calm, and capable. It is the perfect food for supporting a daily practice, whether that practice is physical movement, meditation, or simply the ability to navigate your day with grace and ease. With the walnut and the almond working together, we have established a powerful foundation for both mind and body. We have clarity and we have strength. Now, we need only one more element, the final piece that ties the entire system together in perfect harmony. Life's foundation. We have now come to the final insight, the one I asked you to wait for. It is often the case in life that the most powerful effects come from the smallest, most concentrated sources. It is not always about quantity, it is about potency. We have built the foundation for the mind and the body, but there is a master system that regulates the energy of the entire organism. It is the conductor of our metabolic orchestra. If this system is out of tune, everything feels off. Our energy is low, our mood is unstable, our mind is foggy no matter what else we do. The third and final nut we must eat is not for building, but for regulating. It is the master key. This nut is the Brazil nut, and its power is almost unbelievable in its concentration. The secret is not in its protein or its fat, it is in one single essential trace mineral, selenium. The Brazil nut is by far nature's richest and most potent source of this element. Selenium is the foundation of our life's foundation. Selenium is the primary fuel for one of the most important glands in your entire body, the thyroid. Your thyroid gland, located in your neck, produces hormones that regulate your metabolism. You can think of your thyroid as the pacemaker for your energy. It determines how quickly or slowly your body burns fuel. It influences your heart rate, your body temperature, your mood, and your cognitive function. For your thyroid to work properly, it absolutely must have enough selenium. Selenium is required to convert the inactive thyroid hormone, T4, into the active thyroid hormone, T3, that your body can actually use. Without enough selenium, this conversion process falters. The result is a sluggish thyroid, even if you are producing enough of the initial hormone. This leads to fatigue, weight gain, feeling cold, hair loss, and a deep, pervasive brain fog. Many seniors experience these symptoms and assume it is just a normal part of aging. Often it is a simple, correctable nutritional deficiency, and the Brazil nut holds the key. Here is the most important part of this final lesson, and it is a lesson in the power of just enough. Because of the incredible concentration of selenium in Brazil nuts, you do not need a handful, you do not need a bowlful. That would be too much, and too much selenium can be toxic. The wisdom here lies in the dosage. For most people, just one single Brazil nut per day provides you with more than the recommended daily amount of selenium. 2 at the most. This is a profound teaching. It is not about excess, it is about precise, mindful application of a powerful tool. To eat 1 Brazil nut a day is a simple, almost effortless act, but the effect is system-wide. It is a tiny action with a massive, harmonizing result. It ensures that your master energy regulator, your thyroid, has the exact fuel it needs to keep your entire system in balance. It supports your mood, your energy, and the clarity of your mind from the most fundamental level. This is the final piece that locks the entire structure together. We have the walnut for the mind's clarity, we have the almond for the body's stable strength, and now, with the Brazil nut, we have the master key that regulates the energy flow for the entire system, ensuring all parts work together in perfect, efficient harmony. This threefold practice is simple, attainable, and profoundly effective. It begins with the wisdom to remove what is harmful, and it culminates in the precise, mindful construction of a vibrant, energetic, and clear state of being. This is how you take control of your health. It is not complex. It is about understanding the principles and then applying them with daily, gentle discipline. 1 Brazil nut a day. It is the ultimate expression of how a small, conscious choice can create a life of abundant energy and profound well-becoming. Your body is not a separate entity. It is a reflection of your awareness, a manifestation of your choices. The food you choose is the information you give to your cells, the raw material from which your future self is built. Let that information be pure. Let that material be strong. The journey through the years does not have to be a decline. It can be an ascent into greater wisdom, deeper peace, and a quiet, unshakable strength that radiates from a body and mind in perfect harmony. I came here to learn about nuts, but I'm leaving with a lesson on life. The part about the walnut looking like a brain and the Brazil nut being a master key for the whole system truly changed my perspective. It's not just about what we eat, but why and how. Thank you for this clarity. It feels like I can finally build a foundation that makes sense.